Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Wolfram language design review. And this is part of our graphics issues series. Um, let's see. We are first looking at um, histogram. Uh, and we're looking at proposals for colors and so on. I have to say, I am preferring the one on the right. Is that where's the current one?
The current one is far left.
Is Jeremy here?
I do not see him, although he's a regular invitee.
Can somebody message him? Is
Yes, I'll do
Tim
that.
here?
Tim is here.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm tiring of this yellow, but maybe that's just and I'm sort of finding this yellow spiffier. In terms of the graying down of the yeah, I mean this is as visible as that is, I think. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't think visibility is an issue there, but I I kind of favor the one on the left, far left, the one that's currently being used.
Okay. Um, because you've seen it so much, or because
That
I just
might
feel
be.
Well, no, I mean it used to be a dustier version of that a few versions ago. Um,
yeah.
and, s- and so
I
it's
mean,
not a
there's a reason,
familiarity thing. It's
right? But there's a reason that, green is in this year or whatever it is, right? I mean, color preferences do change. Um,
exactly. Um,
well, if
I
we
was wondering if if the far right hand one was too close to pure yellow. I mean, it's obviously not pure yellow
It's not
yellow,
pure yellow.
but it's
I just
closer in
think it.
that
I think it
direction.
just has a bit of life to it that the one on the left doesn't have. But I want Jeremy's opinion, and if he isn't here, we can't get that right now. So we'll have to loop back to that.
Right.
I
Now,
mean,
I mean,
one thing to bring up is if we change his color, there's like 14 different visualizations that match this color. Do you want to be
let's
changing
look at some
them
examples of other
all?
ones, like
what are
bubble
the
chart, for
14,
example.
Tim? I mean, are you including like bar charts?
Yeah, bar chart and there's like
Yeah,
Okay, so
bubble
paired
chart and
histogram,
so
but
on.
yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Right. We need to see samples of all of them. I just think, look, here's my view. This really is kind of a color fashion, ambient colors in the world kind of thing, right?
Hmm.
Because there was a, there was a time when probably, let's say army green or something, it goes up and down in popularity. The,
We will not
or
name the 70s.
yeah, the, I mean, so these things go up and down, and I think that I do think we need to be sort of fashion connected in these colors. I
Hmm.
don't think we just say, I don't think that we optimize by saying we're these colors forever. I bet be an interesting uh the be an interesting study to look at scientific papers and see what colors they've used over time. I bet there's been lots of evolution in that. Um,
It's an interesting thought.
I mean we could find
Yeah.
out. You just look.
I'm wondering how much of it then, would be on the part of the authors choosing colors versus, on the, whatever package they used.
Well, but before some time it wasn't packages.
Right.
Um, and it wasn't, I mean, if you look at, there's a guy called William Playfair who wrote, pretty sure that was in color. Let me just take a
Yes.
look. Was it in color?
Hmm.
Yeah, I ran across him when I was doing plot themes originally a long time ago. And that, in fact, that
I have a
was,
reproduction copy of Playfair on my shelf,
Yeah, so do I somewhere. Um,
which is
okay.
in some ways the craziest book.
Okay, so I guess this is the colors that he used, which actually aren't bad and are quite modern. Let's take a look at a few more of his colors. I mean, this was 18. When was this? This was
No,
um
18 or
17. So
17 something.
yeah, it's like beginning of the 1800s. Um, let's see, where is, damn, there must be a nice, this is yeah, it's the statistical breviary that we're looking for. Oh, here we go. Brewster has one. Um, at least I think it was in color. I thought it had fold-out plates. That's what I remember
It has
from.
fold-out pages in color.
Well, where are they? Did they not scan the fold-out pages? Is that the side of a fold-out page that didn't make
Let
it?
me flip through my copy. I don't suppose it has a page number on it. Or...
Introduction and explanation of the Turkish Empire, the Emperor's dominions, the German Empire. Well, at least most of those countries still exist. Oh no, the Kingdom of Prussia. Sorry. Um, okay, in any case, no, I'm afraid this was not well scanned. Um, anyway, it will be interesting to look at those colors. I think they were, as I recall, somewhat muted actually.
I mean, the first screenshot you had was representative.
Yeah, I mean, there's if we just do an image search here, um, those are pretty nice. Maybe we should copy them. I assume that those were colored contemporaneously, that they weren't like you bought the book and then you colored them in yourself type thing.
That would
What
be
did
such
you?
a cool book. No, I mean, I'm sure it was, watercolored or whatever.
Well, I think it had to be. They didn't have full color printing then. It had to be done by. I don't know how it was done, but I think he loses a little bit on the yellow there, unless the yellow has decayed over time. But these are not terrible colors. They're actually quite similar to ours. As usual, it's kind of like the earliest is not the worst. That is probably somebody using our tech to reproduce Mr.
I'm
Playfair.
just imagining every copy of the book with a monk in there carefully penning in the graph.
Well, I mean, how did Robert Blake do his books? I mean, it was also intensive, right?
Don't know. Well, anyway, so look, my conclusion is these are pretty nice colors, which have aged very, very well. That's unusual. I mean, my guess is, um, I mean, I don't know if that's an original, but that is a little
Right.
bit.
I mean, I think the most, do I, the fun, one of the fun parts of that book is that like the pages are even like that yellowish. It's they haven't tried to do any white balance correction or whatever.
Well, they yellowed over time. I suspect
Yeah.
the paper had some acid in it, and it was. Uh, but in any case, okay. Be this as it may, we
So
can.
you like the brighter yellow? We can
I think I'd like
see how
Jeremy's
bar charts
opinion.
and stuff look like with
I'm a
that.
little bit embarrassed that Mr. Playfair back in 1800 or something seems to be you know not uh you know I'm impressed by his colors, so to speak. Um, and maybe we should have a Playfair palette of colors. Would be interesting to try and pull that out. I mean, I wonder what other examples. Actually, another person who produced statistical charts was Florence Nightingale, but I don't know whether hers were in color.
I don't remember. I mean, I've certainly looked at them at various points, but
Yeah, I mean, she had these radar plot type things, but I
mhm.
don't know what she did herself. Well, this might be an original.
Yeah, that looks right.
Hmm. Okay. Well, in any case,
Right. So the other thing I was going to mention is, at the bottom, just off the bottom of the screen, I have a screenshot of that output, you know, copied into 14.3 on my Mac. Um, and I think it's the anti-aliasing was able to go really thin on Mac on earlier, prior to V15. Um,
so
which
that's why this kind of fell apart here.
right. I mean, you can see there's bars that you know should be going close to the top that are just completely not showing up.
Yeah.
And you resize the graphic
Well,
and things
let's
flicker
be
in and
happy.
out.
The anti-aliasing has improved.
Yep.
Um. Okay. All right. So I think I want Jeremy's opinion about this, and I really want to. I mean, it would be nice if somebody was actually trying to follow, color trends in the world. I'm not. I'm not a. So if anybody here is, that you know somebody who's fashion color conscious, it would be nice to get their opinion. Is this an in color for 2026 or not?
And then the question is, can we predict the end colors and like have the default colors be oh, it's June of 2026. We're going to switch more green.
Yes, right. I don't think anybody knows that. Maybe 6 months in advance because there are some self-fulfilling prophecies. Um, okay.
Let's see. The next couple of things are um
That
let's
is
see.
not my favorite way of doing this.
This is a second. Um
It would be nice to have, I don't know, vertex labels, arrow. Well,
right,
what
I
is
mean,
it? Is it
so
placed?
there are things that you can do that I think are in the right direction, but they have issues.
Well,
Um
are you saying this you could make work with a plot theme? Those are way too dark. Look, these things need some kind of background color. The borders shouldn't be
I'm
black.
just saying this is what's there now. Um I mean, so
I talked to Charles about this and we can create
we
a
have
I mean,
plot theme.
Charles.
I mean, let's first put in context. I don't understand what is the issue right now with this.
Right, I mean,
Oh,
so
you
he
mean this is
wants.
working right now?
Yes, we have been working for years.
Well, I didn't know that.
I mean, for some definition of working, it has
Mm.
limitations. In that,
Well,
if your vertex names are longer,
but there will always be
bad things happen
limitation.
with the circle.
There's always limitation. I mean, the vertex name can be an image. It can be any expression, right? So it's optimized for a certain sample type.
Right, splatteroo there. I mean, I don't know what we would expect it to do in this case.
And there's index labeled too.
Yeah, but that's not the interesting one for Stephen's
Yeah.
purpose here. I
Nolan
mean,
on our live stream comments that Pantone says Cloud Dancer is 2026's color. It's a white.
We
Yeah,
probably shouldn't use that for the default sticker.
no. The, I mean, if yes, well, if Susie thinks she could contribute to this, to ask her to join, but I think this might be hard to contextualize. Um, I think we should ask around a bit for people who pay attention to these things. Susie would be a good example.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, so the other thing that you get into, with these sorts of things is if instead of plot theme you do vertex labels goes to placed.
I understand, but this is okay. I think that we could get somewhere with a vertex, vertex labels, arrow, I don't know what, some kind of I mean, we've got vertex labels to name, for goodness sake. Why are we not doing a just something here that is
there's a principle we follow, right? Vertex label display or position the labels, just the labels. It doesn't manipulate the style. It doesn't do anything else. Everything else, we put them in plot theme, right? It's something we agree on. Vertex size, vertex style. We don't mix them, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Now
Yeah, I mean,
what
the
happens?
question
Hold on.
is, how do you say that you want, the boxed, nice background version, for your labels?
Well, you see, one thing that I'm always nervous about is plot theme and its interaction with other stuff. Plot theme is always kind of, if you set something explicitly, it will overwrite plot theme. Is that a true statement?
Yes. Plot themes are just a default set of options.
I don't think that name is particularly okay. There are multiple problems. First of all, the actual styling is not good and should be fixed. Second of all, for example, I wouldn't mind a light gray and a very light blue background there, reflecting the blue backgrounds here. See what I'm saying?
Tying it to the normal vertex style.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm also not wild about the name labeled, so I'd be happy to see something different there.
I mean, for me, I'm open to, we can add more plotting which satisfied or which, based on certain criteria, but there will not be one which will be universal, will be perfect for every circumstance.
Hey, Charles, is there always a name, or is it only...
There's a vertex name for sure, because that's how it's labeled inside the internal structure of the graph.
Yeah, the name is the base expression we are using. So.
Okay, so, I mean, potentially, you don't need the name. You could do something with just labeled.
Well, I think we need to know what is the description? It's a center placed label. I mean, it could be center labeled. Or what would you call that kind of labeled is kind of like off on the side. I mean, center labeled is slightly reflects the place, comma, center.
Can you try something that
but I'm just wondering,
yeah.
Vertex labels, you are adamant that it has to be, I mean, if I say vertex labels goes to, I mean, what happens if I say placed name, comma, center? Does that work?
Yes, it's the way it works.
I don't know why it works. Well, but also it looks terrible, right? So why, maybe placed should have what causes...
Third argument?
Yeah.
To do comma framed after center.
Yeah, you have a third argument.
It's still not going to work. Framed goes to true.
No, just framed.
Yeah, just framed.
Okay, it's still not helping me. It's still got blue dots underneath that.
I mean, I think...
No. I mean, the blue dot cannot vanish. That's the principle, right?
Well, no, I mean, I think the blue dot
but it
can
does
vanish.
here.
And, if the placement is center...
No, but those are the plot theme. These are the vertex label. It doesn't
Okay,
affect the...
Charles, look. This is a useful form of plot a lot of the time. So the fact you have to stand on your head to get to it is not okay. The fact that I understand your point about vertex labels just annotates, it doesn't replace the vertex, you know, I mean, we've got vertex style.
Then you set up vertex shape function goes to none.
Yes, I know. It goes to what? What
Goes
does it
to
have to
none.
go? What good is that going to do me? Look, that's deep obscurity, Charles. I mean, I understand if I do that, it'll make that vanish. Still doesn't do the right thing. Still doesn't make me my circles. That's just a mess. What option setting actually does give me this?
So that one is a combination of first the vertex shape function, right? The vertex
Okay,
label. So it's a combination of options we have to associate. That's why we put
I
them in
understand. So
quoting.
let's have a new option then that does this, because this is a very useful thing. And,
Yes.
the vertex shape function is too complicated. Now, actually, what about vertex shape itself? I mean, vertex shape, which I never understand and never use. Let's see what the autocomplete does for me.
Right. So the vertex shape is pretty much, you can think about this as an insert inside the graphics. And I think the key feature is that we have enough information about the size that we can resize your graphic appropriately to fit.
Yeah, I mean, where this is, if we say vertex size, I have no idea what the units of this are. What are the units of that?
So we have, so if you open the documentation, we have, I think, 2 or 3 different units. So the nearest one is based on the fraction of the distance between the vertex.
Yeah, but what is it by default? The thing that I just said, vertex size 1, what does it do?
So it's the nearest one. So essentially we
By
compute
the way, this is a shockingly bad piece of documentation. Where do I see vertex size arrow a single number? It's not in the documentation.
It's the second line, and you mentioned it. We fixed that. We are fixing that for this coming version. You see, we say vertex size goes
The
to
second
S for a
note,
number.
not the table.
Second.
Oh, it should be in the table. Okay. Fractional distance between vertex coordinates. Is that what it is? That's unbelievably obscure. I had no
Well, I
idea
mean,
that's what that
presumably
was.
that's so that the
So to
size gets
avoid
things
smaller as
don't
the number of
collide.
vertices increases.
Yeah, it's kind of
exactly,
interesting heuristic.
they don't collide. So that was the reason. And that's why it's the default one.
Boy, I bet that's caused me to have all kinds of problems. Well, I just basically play around with vertex size until it looks right.
Turn Stephen into a random number generator.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like that's what I'm doing. I didn't know that's what I should be using the scaled version. Now, why is it the case? Why isn't it the case that I can just use scaled here? Why wouldn't we support that?
We support that. So it's interpreted exactly like in graphics. So it's disk of, coordinate comma scaled when one.
Okay, where is scaled listed in here?
We haven't. I mean,
So
it's like any other additional. Pardon?
Well, so why isn't it documented?
Well,
I think it should be. Why
okay.
wouldn't it be? Is there any reason it wouldn't be, other than somebody forgot?
No, not per se really. It works in this case because the disk box, the disk expression, the second argument works, right? So an arbitrary shape function will not work. Because there also you can put image scale, right? So if you do disk of 00, image scale, graphics know how to handle it. So these are just,
Okay, let's not address this issue right now. Let's deal with let's let's go back to this issue here. Okay. How do we get, enclosed? I mean, this is such a common thing to want. And no, it's not going to work to have this.
So we can do that. We can introduce. So if you replace this by plot team, I think we have classic labeled who does the square frame. So we can actually introduce a new plot team who actually does, who provide that behavior you want, right? With the control based on the
I
the
don't think
labels.
that's the best thing. I mean, I can't do two plot themes, can I? If I also want to do plot theme arrow marketing, that's not going to work. How do I combine plot themes?
Put them in a list.
Does that work?
It should.
I wouldn't trust that, but didn't seem to work.
Take out name labeled. I mean, it may be doing something bad with that particular name labeled, but it's doing something with it.
Or reverse the order.
Right.
In theory, reversing the order shouldn't differ.
Well, this didn't work. Come on, guys.
Bad Charles. To quote Itai.
Come on.
I mean, because,
Look,
plot
I
themes
didn't know
should
what the
combine that
semantics
way.
was supposed to work.
Right. I mean, that's why myself, composing plot team,
I think it's a bad
theoretically,
idea. So let's make sure that this functionality is available. This functionality is available without plot theme. Okay, so let's figure out how to do it. And let's not say, oh, you can use plot theme, you can use vertex shape function goes to whatever. No, let's figure out how we do it in a way that actually people will understand. And I mean, I think it's a pity. Yeah, well, so what are your suggestions for how to do that? And I think we need things
I
other
mean,
than
my
So
surface image.
suggestion is that placed name center should do it.
no,
I think that's extremely obscure, and I don't think it's a good idea.
I mean,
For
you
vertex
have,
label, doesn't make sense.
or you introduce a function to modify the graph, or you modify the option. So what option can we modify?
Okay, here's an alternate proposal.
So let's go to the list, and we figure that is not possible. Right? That's
What
simple.
about vertex shape goes to name?
But the vertex shape goes to name, we actually take the name and we insert it. That's an existing behavior.
You mean the string name? It puts
Yep,
as
it's name.
Oh, it's the word name.
Yep, it's the word name.
Yeah, well, that's pretty silly. We could hijack that. I mean, an unparameterized vertex shape. Okay, so look, what will we call this effect of having? I mean, we might want different shaped boxes and things like this, right? Am I making
right,
sense?
and we added circled a while back, correct?
For what?
It's just a general wrapper function to draw circles around things, like circled of 1 plus x. Didn't we?
I thought we did actually. What is it
Or did
called?
it get renamed to something else? Or
I thought we had that as well. It's a resource
did we
function.
ultimately decide that we just use framed with a rounding radius? Maybe John remembers.
Sorry, you have my attention now. What am I remembering?
Why we didn't
Circled?
have circled.
I don't remember ever discussing the possibility.
Oh, I definitely remember it. And it looks like maybe it got put in a function repository
It
thing.
isn't the function repository. Okay, look, we need to solve the problem of how do we give, I mean, possibly circled should be a system function. But that's not going to solve everything here because we also got to have this case for square boxes and things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to go too far into it, but of course the tricksy thing is that if it's really circled, then, and maybe you've been discussing this, if it's really circled, then what do you do
When
when
it's
you have to grow the
elongated.
circle?
Yeah.
Right. The
Um,
circles have to get
You
big.
can't bring everybody into the circle, as they
Yeah.
might say in other contexts.
Yeah, I mean, you could grow the circle, but then that's going to be very disorienting if you're growing the circle as you
No, it's
type.
not a good idea. It just has to clip. Well, or it could, I suppose, in principle, it could line break. Could it line break
Yes.
in a
I mean, in
circle?
some cases, yes, but
I mean, there would be, yeah, I mean, uh, more decisions come into play. It's how aggressively are you going to line break, and at some point, line breaking won't be enough. You're still going to run out of space.
right. I mean, a power tower isn't going to line break in any.
Yeah. Okay. Be that all as it may, I mean, line breaking would be amusing to try for this. Yes, eventually. Okay. But let's just understand what option. So we're looking at options for graph, and we will not take no for an answer. So we're not just going to decide we can't do it.
My point is not a matter of we can't do it. My point is we need a separate function because you want control. You want to change the background. You want to change the shape. It can be a rectangle. It can be a frame. It can be a circle.
I think we want a small number of shapes. So I would propose,
Are we imposing uniformity on shapes? For
yes,
example, rectangles, would rectangles all be the same size, even if it would be better from a labeling perspective to have different sized
right.
rectangles?
So I want to comment on something else. I definitely want to be able to recolor the vertices. That's going to be important for lots of purposes. This is a style of labeling, basically. It's a combination of labeling and the vertex shape.
And vertex style. So you want like the background to inherit from vertex style?
I do. Um, I mean, it could be a yet a new option.
By the way, sorry I wasn't paying attention, but that haloing that you have on some of those examples is pretty cool.
This thing here.
Yeah, yeah. It's a
It
nice
is cool.
effect.
Yes. Except
Wonder
this
why
did
it's
the
not
wrong
on all
thing.
of them.
Yeah, how come it isn't on that one?
Oh, I assume that was deliberate. I assume they were being highlighted in some way.
No. Something's very weird there. Okay. What are we going to do?
Your goal is nice labeling. That's the
No,
problem
no,
we're
the
sorry.
goal is you missed a lot. The
Yeah.
goal is that we're trying to put these labels on top here. We're not trying to have some stupid thing where the labels go like this, and we put a big stack of crud
Okay.
on top.
So
Nice internal labeling. Yeah. Okay.
all that can be easily be done, right?
Well,
So that's
but how do we specify it?
right. So my
This is not adequate. Vertex shape function redoing is inadequate. There has to be a simpler way to do this. Sorry, go ahead, please.
right. So what I was saying is, if we like pointed out, right, do we introduce a new option or we use existing options?
Yes.
Right. From the original design we can deviate from it, obviously, but the way to do that was in principle, we add a new plot theme. So if we don't
Yes,
want
but
to add
that's not going to work, Charles. We just went through that. It's not going to work. We need a way to do this that is orthogonal to plot theme, where this works within the plot themes. Okay, so let's not go there. We're done with that idea. Let's figure out how to do this with an existing option or a new option. Okay? I mean, plot theme is for bank switching tons of stuff. I don't think this is a thing. Look, I remember in TROF, no, in a thing called, I remember from 1980 or something, in the Unix TROF typesetting system, or some variant of that uh, made graph type things. You could do this. It was an option, right? Let's not say you have to use a plot theme and try and stand on your head and do whatever. We need a way to do this. So let's figure out what the best way to do it is. So, Charles, do you have an idea what option you would like to use, or do you have a suggestion for a new one?
right now, honestly, I don't have any idea.
Okay, well, let's figure it out then. What about the possibility of a vertex appearance option? I'm not wild about the name vertex shape, but vertex appearance would be, the problem is we need to take vertex label, it's taking vertex label.
It's taking the style, the label, and the shape function.
What have we done in some other cases where don't we have some things with axes and leaders and, I don't know, arrows and things where we have a notion, like if we had a vertex label rendering, we're using the vertex label. And we're rendering it in a different way. Am I making sense?
I mean, in a sense, it's call out, but not off to the side with the leader. It's
No, I'm just asking for precedence
yeah,
in the
yeah.
way that we're making use of other option settings, in this case, vertex label. And, we want to use vertex style, vertex shape. All of these we want to use, which is why this is hopeless, right? So we want to use vertex style, vertex shape. I think we want to use vertex shape.
I mean, if you want like circled versus rectangles versus, rounded rects or something, probably the three
Right, but the
most.
issue is we're splatting. Look, the real issue is we're using the label as the rendering for the node, as opposed to using the label as a label. Am I making sense? Label as a
Yes.
label, it's off to the side. We're actually using it to make the node.
Right. So if that's the case, then it have to be a, like you point out, vertex shape or vertex shape function.
Well, or a new option. Just like
The- the-
vertex
the- the-
shape and vertex shape function are overlapping options. We can have another one.
So my only worry about it is a new option mean precedence, mean inheritance,
Mean what?
which the inheritance of property, right? So
Yeah.
how,
Yeah, we have to
precedence,
figure it out.
right?
We have to figure it out. Look, the basic thing we want to do is we want to use the vertex label as the thing that constructs the vertex. How do we specify that? I mean, it seems like it would be most natural in vertex shape.
I don't know if this is
What?
useful, but just it conceptually, it seems a little bit like markers, plot markers, legend markers, that sort of thing.
I mean, that's what, vertex shape is, closely related to as well, so. Um,
What about something like, well, the problem with this
well,
is,
so here's a question. If we ignore the actual name of the option for a moment, what do you envision the right-hand side looking like? Is it a named string thing, or is it something parameterized?
well, I think it should have a named string variant. I mean, look, if we said vertex shape is circled label, I don't think that's completely crazy. And then that is orthogonal to vertex style and all those kinds of things. It will be a thing. So vertex shape right now, if I do this and I say, oh gosh, why didn't that work? Why didn't
Be-
that work?
Come
Because
on.
the
it's a
graphic is
graphics is isolated from its
something.
surroundings. You can't do like basically this is the equivalent of style of graphics comma green, and that doesn't work, and that's intentional.
Okay, but this did work. Did it?
Yes.
No, it didn't. Look at what it did.
Well, I mean,
It
No,
didn't work.
it
It
used the
didn't work.
text.
no,
Yeah,
no,
it didn't work.
no, vertex shape. That's the thing. Vertex
Now,
shape
I
of
know
it.
vertex shape is a stupid thing that I never use
No, but it did
because
work.
it
The
does things.
vertex style is
It
actually
didn't do
red.
what we wanted it to do. We wanted to mix in vertex. Look, vertex shape, I never use it. I never use it. I barely know that it
But
exists.
Stephen, even if you never use it, we use it. A lot of people use it. It works.
What do you use it for?
To actually, if you have an image you want to input in your graph, how will you do that? So that's one solution. You
Well,
just
I've
grab
done it with vertex shape function because having the same image, well, you're saying vertex shape can have this pattern thing in it. Is that true?
Yes, but what I mean is also that if you do that with the vertex shape function, you have to know that you have to use nset. You have to know how to control the size
I
of the
know.
image.
I've done it many, many times. I didn't know
But,
anything else worked.
but vertex shape does that automatically. That was the goal of vertex shape.
I think it's a terrible name. But anyway, I think it's a terrible name. I mean, I think it would be better if it was called something like vertex appearance or something.
I don't think that's consistent with how we use the word appearance elsewhere.
Fair enough. But what would you call it now? Because you named it that when I wasn't paying attention during some period of time, when when we thought it was shapes, triangle, square, pentagon, but it isn't that. That isn't its main use. So my question is, what would one call it now? It's not vertex rendering, it's not vertex appearance. What is it?
I would call it vertex marker, but
That's very obscure.
Well, in the literature, like people say, is a shape, right?
I
We
mean,
can argue about it, but
What literature?
the graph literature, when people draw the shape of the vertex, they don't call it marker, they don't call it appearance,
But
they
they
don't.
call it a shape because they think it's a shape. They don't call it a shape because they're going to put a picture of an elephant in it. Saying vertex shape arrow, an image, I barely even thought of doing that because vertex shape suggests it's a pentagon, not an elephant. See what I'm
well,
saying?
I mean, you can't give it pentagon directly, perhaps, but if you give it a graphics with a pentagon in it, it does treat it like a pentagon. So that's not entirely wrong.
No, but if I put an elephant there, it puts a picture of an elephant there,
Sure.
which is not a shape, except an elephant shaped or something. But you get what I'm saying. It's really not a very good name. But the question is, what would be a good name? And maybe that helps us to go in the direction of getting this. Maybe we have an opportunity here to clean this all up. Because as I say, I never use vertex shape. Um,
I'm not entirely clear why you think marker is obscure.
I think it's totally obscure. What the hell is it marking?
I mean, we have things like interval marker,
Yeah, it's a marker.
markers.
It's just it has the same problem as shape.
which is effectively the appearance of an interval.
I was going to say
I
marker may
know
be
that,
obscure,
but
but it's at least,
yeah, it's not
use.
it's not a good idea.
Okay.
It's look, I mean, it has like shape, which implies pentagon, not elephant. Marker is a fine thing for tick-like things and so on, but isn't the right thing for
Plot markers?
no, I mean, whatever. Um um okay. Um Sorry, I got distracted by something. Um
So I'm looking at like the old flowchart template stencil things on Amazon. And the words that are popping out to me are shape and symbol.
right, that was Visio. But Visio was that was literally people had those I don't even know what they're called, the things where you draw, the plastic template
Oh, right, the
things.
stencils.
Stencil, that's the right word. Right. So that the shape was the only possibility because you couldn't,
Hmm.
you get what I'm saying? It wasn't you couldn't
Right,
have a
it wasn't an
crosshatch.
arbitrary thing. It was.
Right. I think we should think about a possibility of a different thing for shape. But I think here, you know, the I think that the pseudo recovery with our current design would be to have vertex shape be circled label or framed label. Am I making sense? Charles?
Yeah, sure, we can do that.
I think that's what we should go with for now. I think we should revisit this possibility that vertex shape could have a different name. But so we need designs, Tim, that's for you, for circled label and framed label. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Okay, so I suggest a very light blue to reflect what we do with default plot points, but lighter than that. And I don't know whether these are gray borders or something else.
believe those are partially transparent, but yeah, appropriate border treatment.
Right. This will be nice.
So the other thing
Okay.
I was going to point out, and looks a bit more muted than I was seeing on my machine, so I'm not sure if something changed or not, but is those tag nest graphs are using the default plot sequence of colors.
Oh God, they don't look very good.
As like I was saying, I think those are looking, yeah, those have transparency, I think, which is not.
Why is this even using? I mean, the tag nest graph should not be. It's only got two cases, right? I don't understand this. In this case, why are there so many colors? I don't understand. Why aren't there just two colors? What the heck is it doing? See what I'm saying? There should just be two colors. Why is there a green?
So the colors should correspond to the transition modes.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what they do. What the heck else are they? What other colors are there? Why would there be any other colors?
So it's the current implementation is showing duplicity.
That's just wrong. That's
Okay.
just wrong. How did that happen? It's just wrong.
Okay, we are not going to speculate about the implementation, right? We pick a color stuff. If there is an issue, we will fix it, right? It may be a bug, it may be an issue, we will handle it. We are still finishing the function.
Okay,
So
fine.
that's the thing.
Right. And likewise with the association syntax, I don't think that's certainly not documented
but fine.
yet.
But let's just be clear that what it's supposed to do is it's tagging which element of this list is used for which edge.
Right. So that definition of tagging changed, and we will follow it, we'll implement it.
Well, it didn't change.
When I say change, the first implementation we have was not that, so we'll fix it.
Okay, all right. But I mean, the function repository one was that, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't understand. So somebody got confused somewhere.
Well, we are not basing it on the implementation of the function repository.
Well, you should have followed the design of the function repository one, because that was what we agreed we were doing. I mean, that's what it does. So please follow that. If there's something else that deviates, then let me know. By the way, another name would be vertex format. Okay, can we read through this carefully, because it all made sense. I mean, this was any none on the right-hand side of the rule is dropped from the graph. That's an interesting statement. Do you understand what we're saying here? Right. So in other words, if this said if hash is greater than 17, I mean, maybe that's unnecessary. You could just edit the list. You just have the list not have, but no. Not if we've got colors.
You have to have a positional space for it.
Yes. Well, particularly if you're coloring things.
Yeah.
So I think you should support that. Charles.
Sure.
Okay. Don't know what that means. Okay, but so the question here is changing. I mean, we just went over today graph colors in the design UX meeting earlier, right?
Right.
So Tim, so you can, I mean, these do look more muted than they should be. Yeah. And certainly these are too light.
Yeah, I think those are just transparent.
Okay, fine. So it's just bugs.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay, fine. Do you think that's the case, Charles, Tim?
Yeah, I'm sure they're transparent.
There's a default opacity, which is applied from the default graph.
But is that what we, tag graphs tag nest graphs are just like any other kind of graph in terms of their that's just weird. Well, it doesn't look good right now. But I mean, whatever opacity we use for ordinary graphs, we should be using for these ones as well. The only difference is that we have to have more colors in the palette in this case, right? Because we're showing different tagging. Am I making sense?
Yep, we'll fix that.
I was gonna say I really like that function notation, and as the first argument of the tag nest graph, it works really well.
Yeah.
As a readability thing. I mean, the function character and like all the examples in the resource function page use.
Sorry, which?
Right. I mean, okay, now they're not like, that one at the bottom where it's in goes to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's nice because you can put a function in that position. Another thing to watch, Charles, is the treatment of lists in that second argument. I would try to follow what the resource function does. I can't remember all the details of it. Am I making sense?
Yes.
I mean, you can look at the source code, or it was done. Oh boy. See, this is exactly, I mean, this looks quite nice. And that, by the way, should be used as a model for this framed label concept. See what I'm saying?
Yep, we can do that.
So you said earlier that all the vertices should be equal shape, and they're not here.
I'm changing my mind. I think in the framed case they should expand horizontally. In the
So
circled
in the
case,
rectangular case versus the circular one.
Yeah, because we're calling it framed labels, right? And that suggests it doesn't say rectangle labels. I mean, we could say square, just we say circled. I mean, we could call it, okay, we could have a third case, which would be boxed label. That's not great, but boxed label would mean it's always square. Squared label not being a very good name.
All the labels have a little exponent too on them.
Right. Okay, should we move on?
I think this is probably a good stopping point.
Well, I'd like to just take a quick look at some of
I
these other
mean,
things.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, some of Glory grabbed an early, made changes to this notebook after, and so
Okay.
things that
Okay. Fine.
are scheduled for later or other meetings or whatever, we're
Okay.
still in that section of the notebook.
Things like the chart style and so on. That's all done or almost done.
It is actively rolling forward.
Okay.
Ironing out bugs earlier this week. Going through cases, ironing it all out. So.
Okay. 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 Anything else then?
I think that's it.
Okay. See you all soon.